My name's Melissa. I have a son named Max, and our story's a little different. I grew up in church. As I got older, I started to question kind of my faith, and at a very young age, right out of college, I got married. He was very much about his career, which turned into just a lifestyle that was lies. And there were like changes in his mood. And it was like this, and the lows were really low, like yelling, throwing things, hitting things. There started to be violence in the home. It was the 6th year of our marriage when I had my son. And during that time, I'd go to church, but then he ended up making a decision to turn away and go back to the lifestyle that he was living, which includes drugs and women. And that led me to depression, anxiety. Obviously, the anxiety and depression were affecting my job. I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't focus. It got so deep to the point that I even became suicidal. One day, we were driving back to pick up my son, and I was driving, and he just started hitting everything, and I just thought the next hit was gonna be to me, and I was crying and praying, like, God, please save my life. And I remember the only thing that I can think of is, if something happens to me and him in this situation, who's gonna raise my son? Max has been through things that I never would have wanted for my child, and he has gone through, feeling abandoned and feeling rejected and just things that I wanted to shield him from that I just couldn't. I think that was like a big wake-up call for me, where I'm like, I just really need to make a change. And so I started trying to, but it just felt like I would take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, until ultimately I decided that it was time to end that relationship. I ended up losing everything. We lost our home. I just remember having all my belongings in my car. I never imagined that my life would be that way, and I felt like, God, if you have good plans for me, why am I here? I grew up believing in you, and I know that I stepped away for some time, but I still believe that you're good, and this can't be it. In the middle of going through that process of divorce, I had an aunt invite me to VIVE. She brought me to the women's conference, and I was in the middle of just a lot of brokenness and confusion and questioning. I got in the service, and I would just remember lifting my hands, and the presence of God is so strong. This is where I want to be. This is home. I remember I went to the altar that first service, and I was just like, I'm gonna give it all. I'm gonna give it all. I'm gonna try this again. And it's been such a process since then, but God has been so amazing being connected to this community. We started getting connected at midweeks and VIVE Girl, and then by April, started serving in Royal Kids. I started feeling this love for the kids. Like, I don't want to be anywhere else but at Royal Kids. Like, I just started falling in love with kids ministry again, and just little by little, God started putting so many things together. It hasn't only been me healing mentally and emotionally, it's also been Max. Everyone knows that Max tends to be shy and to himself, and a lot of Sundays it was like dragging him here. We would come to Royal Kids, and so worship would come on. He'd just be like really stiff. And I'd be like, God, well, I want him to feel your presence. I want him to feel freedom. But I just knew it was just so many things that he was navigating through. But when we went to Riot Conference, he told me, Mommy, God did a miracle in my heart. And it was like the miracle that I was praying for. And since then, Max hasn't been the same. He wants to pray. He wants to read his Bible. He wants to come to Royal Kids. Like, he loves Jesus. He even wants to give his tithe. He's like, Mom, I got this allowance. What's 10%? And I feel like literally this is our season of joy, of restoration, of rebuilding. And God has literally done it all. Step by step, he's done it all. Like the place where we're living, the car, the job. Like, I almost feel like God scooped Max and I up Like, he saw my prayers. He heard them all. He saw the deep desire of my heart. He saw past my mistakes and the times that I tried to run away from him. And I feel like he just took us and he placed us somewhere safe and good ground where we can grow, where we could flourish. I feel like this place has really loved us back to health. And truly, God restores us, but he uses his church to do it.